Welcome to your deep yin stretch. Start class this morning in legs up the wall pose, placing a bolster or a cushion underneath your sacrum and extending the legs up the wall. The closer you are to the wall, the more you'll feel that in your hamstrings. If you scooch a little away from the wall, that will feel less intense. You could also have the legs on the back of a sofa cushion or a bolster if you don't have a wall close by. So with your legs in some kind of elevated position, whether you're able to find space on the wall, if you're using a bent knee position with the legs resting on the seat of a chair, or even if you just stacked up some cushions or props and have the legs resting in a bent knee position with the calves supported on blocks or bolsters or even sofa cushions. It doesn't really matter what you use, just getting this elevation of the legs so that you can soften the muscles of particularly the quadriceps. So think about really letting that, if you're contracting anywhere, just let that go. And if you have your legs in the back of the wall, you'll be feeling a passive stretching sensation in the hamstrings, but it's gentle. You have the support there. And so when you have even a passive stretching of the hamstrings, it's signaling to the body to let the opposite muscle group relax. And in this case, that would be your quadriceps. So soften those big muscles of the legs, feeling the top of the femur, that ball at the top really soften down into the space where it fits into your hip. And the muscles that connect there at the top of the femur, the psoas connects there. And that is the muscle, along with these big muscles of the legs, that signals your ability to fight, flight, or flee, particularly the flee part of that. That's your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response. Oftentimes, when the body is chronically tight in those muscles, the signal that's being sent from the physical body to the brain is that it's ready to run. And so it creates a little bit of chronic stress response that signals to the brain, like, I'm going to start to put some stress hormones out in the body, some adrenaline in case I need to run away from danger. So the position that you put yourself in right now is an amazing one for simply tricking the mind right back that there's no danger. Those muscles soften. And the brain says, oh, I'm safe. Everything is relaxing, softening, and letting go. And I can start to produce the hormones that are more feel good, the serotonin, the dopamine. I can give some of my resources over to healing the body. I don't have to worry about using energy to protect myself. Now I can use this energy for healing. So this is the essence that I want you to invite in this moment, is this space of softening, letting go, and healing in the body. And there's an excellent breathing technique that you can do to amplify this as well. It's very simple. Start to watch the natural breath that's already flowing through. Feel the sensations of breath in the nostrils. And inviting this very soft expression of breath to lengthen out, but very gently. So inhaling to a count of 3 and exhaling an equal length count of 3. You're just making the inhales and exhales even. Your own count, inhaling to 3 and exhaling to 3. And if that feels very comfortable, you can start to lengthen that out now, inhaling to a count of 4. Nice and easy. And exhaling to a count of 4. Just keeping the equal length, but making the breaths a little bit longer. See how that feels. You want this breath to feel calm and light and easy and free. And if it feels like too much work at this length, then drop back down to counts of 3. And if the opposite is true and it still feels very peaceful and relaxed, you can extend out one more time, just playing with that lengthening to a count of 5. Equal length on the exhalation. Breath is nice and subtle, smooth. And in Sanskrit, this breath is called samavriti, an equal length breath. Beginning to trust that the natural wisdom and intelligence of the body will keep the inhales and exhales equal in length. If you feel comfortable, you can let go of the count and just work on that trusting of your body to continue to have an equal length in inhalation and exhalation. And then you can free up some of your awareness to just observe what's happening in the body. If you're getting good at cultivating this idea of being the witness, sort of stepping outside of the thinking mind and simply as if you're observing the processes of the body, maybe you can just watch the unwind that's happening in the nervous system. Maybe as this observer, you can witness the mind unwinding. If you find the thinking mind wants to analyze all of this stuff and you get caught up in the story, then just go back to counting, because that gives that thinking mind something to do. This very simple breathing technique of samavriti has a profound healing effect on your body. It puts your heart in a perfect resonance for healing. Now 3 cleansing breaths, nice big inhalation, filling yourself up. Open mouth exhalation, sighing, letting go. Full breath in. Big breath out, sighing, making some noise, cleansing breath. And do that one more time. Big full breath, filling the lungs up and up and up and up and up. And then exhale, let it go. Feeling yourself melt into this complete release and surrender. Surrendering the nervous system, surrendering any need to control the breath now. Just simply observe. What is happening in this body, in this mind, in this exact moment right here? Now, if you have your knees bent, like if you're using a chair or some cushions to rest the legs on, go ahead and straighten the legs up towards the ceiling. So the bottom will still stay flat on the floor, but the soles of the feet will extend up towards the ceiling, and just let the femurs drop heavy into the hip sockets. So this will also, if you have the bent knee position, allow you to have that experience of passive hamstring stretch. And if your hamstrings are particularly tight, it might not feel very passive. You might be noticing some sensation and stretching there. That's good. Just breathe into that space and open up a little space in the backs of the legs. And as that stretching sensation happens, then you know that automatically the systems of the body allow the quadriceps to soften a bit. Now point the toes and then flex the feet. You're going to do that a couple of times, just pointing and flexing. And you can feel the change in which muscles are working as you do that. When you point, you feel the change of the softening a bit of the quadriceps. And when you flex, you can feel those muscles tightening. And that opens up a little more space in the hamstrings. Let's do that a few times. And now come to a more neutral position for the feet and circle them around. Get a few of those cricks and cracks. And then take them the opposite direction. This might really feel like a lot of sensation in the muscles that line your shins. So that can be very tight as well. So just take a few more circles. You can change directions again if you like. Just get that opening up a little bit. I'm going to bring the feet back down to the floor. So if you have the legs up the wall, go ahead and shift back to bringing your mat into a space where you have a little bit more freedom. It's taking a moment to get readjusted. We're going to be exploring a half hero's pose. So I'm going to offer a couple different variations. Remember, this is primarily a yin practice, so there's more intensity of sensation, but there's ways to mitigate that. So first, lying here flat on the back, you're going to roll over to the edge of your right hip so you free up space to bring the top of the left foot to the ground. And that is probably going to feel like quite a bit of sensation on your left side quadricep muscles. So the way to mitigate that is to place something under the spine. The more you have the spine supported, grab a bolster. The less sensation that you're going to have in that quadricep. It's still pretty intensive, so if you find that that's just not working for you, you're going to stay in that neutral position, feet flat on the floor. So having that bend there in the left knee. And just see how that sits with your body. So very intensive for sure. That might be a situation where you stay for 5 breaths. Maybe you can find about a minute hold here. So I'll be counting that off for you, but remember that when you need to release, and this is not to compromise the knees, so if you're feeling a lot of intensity there, you're going to back off. That would be rolling to the right hip and unbending the left leg. You find that you can use your consciousness to help to breathe into the tension and soften the muscles of the quadricep. Maybe you can eke out a few more breaths here. About 15 more seconds to go. And very slowly to release or to roll over towards the right hip so you can slide the left foot out and then bring the left foot back to the floor and just take a moment to watch the sensations in that leg just dissipate. So very, very intensive when you start. Maybe you can find some deep breaths to help to soften a little bit, staying and riding that edge of sensation. And then when you release, you see it dissipates quite quickly. Just allow that to, on the back end, it's like, ooh, that feels really, really great. Just enjoying that moment of the feel-good hormones that come out after we release something that's very tricky. All right, for the opposite side, rolling over to the edge of the left hip, start to bring this top of the right foot to the floor. So it's a deep bend in the right knee. And then getting the right glute to settle back down to see what you find in there. Maybe it's like, nope, that's not happening. And then you're just going to rest on your back and just breathe. You don't have to do every pose. You can still focus on your breath. You could be using the Samavriti breathing to stay in that calm, centered place. Or you might be riding that wave of intensity in the right quadricep muscles now. Use your breath to help smooth that experience out. What space can you find in between the muscle fibers, the fascia that wraps around the muscle tissues? You get really brittle and tight. A little bit of time and breath, and trying to soften and let go and open up a lot of space. Remember not to force. Working on being at your edge without surpassing that. Don't want to do any damage. What we're trying to do is create space. Your breath is a very good guide. If the breath is smooth, and you can move it up and behind the places that feel very tight, then you should be in a very good space, even if it feels like you're on your edge. Continuing to hold here for a few more breaths, unless you need to exit. When you exit, you do that slowly by rolling over to your left hip. So typically, in order to get some benefit into the fascia, this saran wrap-like stuff that wraps around the bundles of muscle fibers, you need to stay for about 1.5 minutes. So we're getting close there. Just try to keep breathing if you're still in the posture. About 15 more seconds to go, which equals about 5 good breaths. On them off if you need something to do. Now to release from the pose, carefully rolling over to your left outer hip so that you can slide. You can use your hand to help as you slide the right foot so the sole of the foot is back onto the floor. And then wherever you are, whether you're flat on the floor, lying on a bolster or cushion to support the spine, Just take a moment to watch the sensation unravel, unwind, turn the body. Notice what's behind that tension and sensation. If you are on a cushion or a bolster, carefully roll off and onto a side and just move it out of the way. And then you're going to go back to being flat on your back. If you're already flat on your back, just extend, oh, don't extend the legs out yet, because you're going to press into the soles of your feet and shift your hips over to the left side of your mat. The hips on the torso go over to the left side. The left shoulder is going to go over there as well. And the feet are going to go to the bottom right corner. Now hook your left heel over your right ankle and then get your bottom flat back down on the floor. We're heading into banana pose. So you're trying to create a crescent shape with your body as you bring your hands to the upper right corner. If it's possible, loosely interlace the fingers and then roll your left shoulder back down onto the floor. So the hands and the feet are in the right corners of the mat. And then the hips, the rib cage, left shoulder are all on the left side of the mat. And then you try to get flat. So the back of your head is flat, left shoulder is flat, left glute is on the floor. And then just close your eyes. Just be in this crescent or banana shape as you soften all muscular activity. So you're not trying to contract. You're not trying to stretch the arms. You're just creating the shape and then letting time, space, and breath do its work. So settle in, close the eyes, and breathe. We'll be here for about 3 minutes per side. And as you spend that time here, you're going to start to notice the sensation that builds in the left shoulder, left side rib cage, left side hip, and probably all the way down the outer line of the left quadricep. That's your IT band there on the outer edge. And just find your breath. If you feel calm, you can bring awareness to just watching the various sensations of the body, even the challenging ones. It's very interesting because it doesn't stay static. It moves and changes. Sometimes it grows more intense. Sometimes you get a big release. So stay curious about what's happening in the body. But if you need something more directive for the mind, then use your Samavriti. When you're counting your perfect count, it could be 3, 4, or 5. Breathing smoothly, creating that equal length on inhale and exhale. Sensations start to build. Keep the breath smooth and calm. Such a good practice for training the mind. It wants to get very agitated. It starts to feel sensation and discomfort. You're training the mind to recognize that your consciousness is in control. You're keeping your breath smooth and calm. So that even in challenging, tricky, and sticky situations, the breath and stay calm, which influences the state of the mind, unless the mind stays more calm. Take one more inhale, filling yourself up. Open mouth, exhale. As you sigh it out, separate the fingers, uncross the left heel, put the feet on the floor, and then shift your hips back to the center of the mat. Come to that center position. You can stay in stillness as you just watch the sensation leave the body, or you can take any movement that feels good. For some people, reconnecting to muscular connection can feel really great in yin. So that might look like just lifting the hips up into an easy bridge position. You could do that a few times. You could rock the knees side to side, or you could just remain still. In a few moments to transition back into a place of peace. When you feel ready, setting up for the opposite side, you'll press down into the feet and shift the hips all the way over to the right. So wiggle the hips, the ribs, the right shoulder over to the right side of your mat. And then extend the feet out to the bottom left. You're going to hook your right heel over the left ankle. And then settle the right glute back down onto the floor. Keeping the right shoulder over to the right, you're going to bring the hands loosely interlaced if you can. You might just have the elbows bent and the hands separated. Just listen to your body. And you're going to settle yourself, shoulder, right ribs, right glute, back into the floor. Back of the head is square on the floor and the eyes are up towards the ceiling. And then you can close your eyes. Now you're creating that strong sensation of right side body. Remember, you're not pulling the hands away or stretching the feet away. Everything in the muscular structure is trying to relax and let go. Find your breath. Find the sensation in the body. Might be presenting very prominently, so it might not be hard to find. And if you feel like you don't have any sensation, try to adjust yourself a little deeper into the shape so that you can have that strong sensation. And then try to relax into it. But for the most part, trying to remain still in your yin poses. You want to let the muscles relax, and to move, the muscles need to contract. So thus, in order to keep the muscles relaxed, you have to remain still. But that doesn't mean that you don't adjust from time to time. So if you need to adjust to back off, if there's too much sensation, or to go deeper if there's no sensation, then you do that. You move and adjust and settle yourself into a slightly different shape. And then you get still again. Soften at the joints. And just breathe. As the sensation starts to build more strongly, perhaps that's presenting more strongly in the shoulder, or some that might be in the hip, or even down the right thigh. Try to stay with a soft breath using accounting the length of inhale and exhale if you need a place to anchor the mind. We know there's no separation, theoretically, from our yogic philosophy. No separation between the mind and the body. They influence each other very, very strongly. So if you have a thought, that thought literally creates a chemical reaction in your body that influences the tissues, the muscles, the organs. All of that is literally, in a very real way, physiologically affected by your thoughts. So we work on harnessing that wild force of the mind. How do we do that? Well, it's with the breathing. Just a few more breaths here. Remember, we already had a discussion about how the physical body affects and influences the mind. So a tight muscle can read to the mind like there's danger. So we want to work on both aspects, physical body, which influences the mind, and the mental body, the mind that influences with its thoughts, the chemical state, the physiological state of the body. Always, always the breath is the bridge. One more big inhale. Exhale, sighing out, separate the fingers. And cross at the ankle. And bringing the soles of the feet to the floor. Remember to move really slowly. You're going to shift your hips back to the center of your mat, get everything even. And just soften into this position of the knees pointing up towards the ceiling. It's a neutral position for the hips and spine. Take a few moments to just watch these strong sensations release from the body. And then perhaps there's some movement that would feel good for releasing deeper underlying sensation that might still be there. So you could rock the or windshield wiper the knees side to side, massaging out the outer hip. Or you could be using a bridge position, lifting the hips up high, and then lowering back down. Whatever feels nice for releasing the sensation. And then you're going to bring yourself back down to the ground. The feet are going to come the same distance as the hips. So as wide as the hips, and the heels closer to the body. You're going to be taking dynamic bridge pose. So you maybe have already used bridge as a way to release, and now all together using bridge pose, press down into the feet. You're going to lift the arms up and overhead until the backs of the hands come to the ground behind you. And then as you exhale, you're going to roll yourself down one vertebra at a time. Now, as you do this, I want you to use the Samavriti breathing. So if the count of 5 works for you, try to create that inhalation and lift of the hips to a count of 5, getting the backs of the hands to the floor right when you hit 5. And then as you exhale, count of 5, trying to get the seat to touch the floor and the palms of the hands to touch the floor when you reach 5. So now what I've given you is not just a body exercise, but also a brain exercise. So exploring that for a few moments. The inhalations, the hips lift and the arms reach up and overhead till the backs of the hands touch the floor. And then as you exhale, you're finding that slow release back down, trying to create equal length in the lift and the lower. And last one. When you're complete, bringing the bottom back down to the floor, the arms are alongside. You now cross your right ankle above your left knee and lift the sole of the left foot off the ground. So in this variation of this figure 4 pose, you're going to let the legs relax. So you're not activating the feet and flexing. You're not pointing the toes. You're just bringing the right arm through the triangle space. Try to interlace the fingers above your left shin. So sometimes we do that behind the thigh, but I want you to try to interlace at the shin for this variation. Let that left leg just hang down and try to let the weight of your hands on the left shin bring the left thigh closer to your belly. Remember that the muscles are trying to relax. So this is going to be a little bit heavier feeling than we normally might experience in this figure 4. Shoulders are heavy into the ground, letting the weight of your hands bring left thigh closer to belly. You'll feel good sensation. It probably does feel really good to get some space in the outer right hip. Just breathe there. Don't let any sneaky tension build up in the shoulders. Really let that soften down into the ground. You don't need to pull with the hands because we're going to stay here for a longer period of time. So that time will create a deeper opening without having to pull. Continue to soften, let go. If you need more sensation, you can slide the hands down the shin closer to the foot for this last about 30 seconds here. So if you slide the hands closer to the foot, so the hands move down the shin, that will create deeper sensation in the right hip if you have some space there. Big inhale, filling up. Open mouth, exhale, letting go. And sliding the hands away. Come through that triangle space. And you're going to hug right thigh in towards the belly and extend your left leg out onto the floor. So give a nice squeeze. That's going to help to release right there at the crease of the hip. That's your hip flexor there. It should feel like a good release deep in the hip. And transitioning into spinal twist, pulling the right knee across. And you may need to shift your hips a little bit over to the right as well. As the right knee comes across, opening right arm out to the side. And then if it feels good on your neck, turn your head to the right. So you're getting a winding up of the spine. And that will help to stretch and release tension in those muscles that line the spine. Nice little stretch for the neck, and continuing to feel stretch in the outer right hip. This is a more active stretch, so you're just taking a few breaths here in spinal twist. Bring your head back to center. If you turned it, bring the right knee up and over, get both feet onto the floor, and then shift your hips back to the center of your mat. Take a big inhale, filling up. Big exhale, letting go. Take as much time as you need here in the release. You can take any movement that you need or be in stillness. When you feel ready, you're going to set up for the opposite side. So crossing the left ankle at the right knee and lifting the right foot off the floor. Just let the right leg hang as you slide the left arm to the triangle space. Interlace the fingers at the shin. And then let the weight of the hands on the shin and the right thigh in closer to the belly. Everything is releasing muscularly here. So you're not pulling, you're not squeezing. The right leg is just hanging, the left toes are relaxed. And then the next layer is to work it on letting the shoulders really soften. Sneaky tension can build up there, so see how heavy you get the shoulders to release into the floor. Find those waves of breath that are flowing through and anchor your mind on the breath. Let time and breath do its work to help to get into sensation and watch it unwind. As time passes, you might feel something really soften. Maybe you didn't realize that you were holding so much tension in your arms or shoulders, and then it releases, and you're like, you can just have that moment of awareness, like, wow, okay, there's some deeper layers going through that I'm working through, releasing through. It's very profound work. You get some good release and you need to create another edge of sensation. Slide your hands a little closer to your foot, farther down the shin, and then feel the intensity come back. And in that intensity, your job is to anchor your mind on the breath, soften through the muscular structure, and breathe deep into that sensation. Take one more big breath in, fill yourself up. Open mouth, exhale, sighing out, letting go. Sliding hands back through. And then bringing the left thigh in closer to the belly. And a nice squeeze in as you straighten the right leg out onto the floor. You can hear I'm negotiating with the singing bowls that are still all around me. And then let the weight of the hands get a nice deep bend at the knee, deep bend in the hip crease. And then creating that spinal twist, you're going to shift, if you need to, hips a little bit more to the left so that the left knee can easily pull across and over to the right. Opening the left arm to the left, and then you can turn your head to the left as well. So this, remember, this is a little bit more active pose that we're putting in, mixing in with our yin. So you can use the right hand to gently pull the left knee across, turning the head, feeling that good stretch in outer left hip. Muscles of the spine are stretching here in this position. And creating a little bit of tension in the muscles that line the spine so that when you release, you get that good unwind. And then bring the head back to center. Left leg comes up and over. You're going to get both feet onto the mat so you can shift your hips back to the center of the mat. Once you're there centered, take a big breath in, fill yourself up. Big breath out, empty, 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 all the way. And just pause here. You can pause in stillness, or you can pause in this position and take a little movement, whatever you need to do to release. So for some, the windshield wipering might be needed to release sacral area and massage out the outer hips. Or you might just be melting into that stillness and just feeling behind all of that tension, there's like a beautiful heat that rises up. You have an internal sunshine. As things release, let that heat just melt into those tissues, knowing that you're getting more space, more softening, where previously was very tight and stuck. When you are ready to move on, you're going to roll to the side, and it might feel nice to spend a couple breaths curled up into fetal position, so don't be in a rush. Just enjoy these transitions. And pressing palms into the ground, bringing yourself up, and you're going to make your way onto hands and knees. If you have sensitive knees, you might like to place a thinly folded blanket under the knees, or you can just have the knees directly under the hips on your yoga mat. Curl your toes under, so you're getting some activation into the feet, and planting the palms directly under the shoulders. So in a tabletop position, you're going to start to take some cat and cow movements. So on your inhalation, the belly will drop, and the chest will lift, the tail will lift for cow. You get a nice stretch through those abdominal muscles. And as you exhale, you're going to round, create some space in the upper back, really push the floor away, tucking chin to throat. So take some nice slow rounds, moving through your cat and your cow. If you want that brain exercise, you can try to match the inhale and the movements with the inhale. And match the length on exhalation and completing the movement with that length of breath on exhalation. Now you have a body and the brain exercise. With one more really slow, luxurious feeling, cat and cows. Really taking your time. And then when you are complete, you'll come to that neutral position. We're going to create a faster movement. So untuck your toes. So you have the toes now, toenails onto the yoga mat. That's going to be a smaller range of motion, and you're going to match it with the breath. So it'll be fast, like, so I'm going to give a demonstration. So the range of motion is much smaller, and it's much faster. So now, instead of going for length and stretch, you're going for speed and fluidity. Slowing down. Take a nice long variation, breathing in, lifting the chest, have a pause at the top with full lungs. And emptying out, finding a pause once you've emptied completely and holding that shape, empty lung. And then come back to a neutral position. You're going to take 3 rounds of lion's breath, inhaling. As you exhale, stick your tongue out, stretch your jaw, make some noise. Breathing in. Exhale the lion's breath. Filling up. And exhale that lion's breath, clearing throat, stretching jaw. Good. Now to any degree possible, you're going to walk hands forward. And you're going to come into melting heart. Bringing the chest down towards the floor, forehead to the ground, surrendering the chest to the floor. It might not touch, that's okay. Big space between the shoulder blades, like a depression between the shoulder blades as you melt the heart towards the floor, tailbone pointing up towards the ceiling, forehead resting on the ground. Really surrender that space of the heart. And just keep that idea of melting heart. So this will be a little bit shorter hold. We're going to try to get to about 1.5 minutes. But this can feel very intensive, especially if you don't have a lot of mobility in the upper part of your spine, your thoracic and cervical spine. So just follow the sensations. Your body is very wise. It will know if you need to exit. And if you need to come out at any time, just make sure you do that slowly. one more big inhale. As you exhale, sigh it out. Push down into the forearms and feel the muscles of the arms contract. And then pull the belly in as you start to slide the hands slowly closer to the body. So you're moving slowly, recontracting muscularly, coming back to hands and knees. Curl your toes under, and you're going to scoop the belly and lift the knees off of the floor. This is going to really contract through your abdominals, and that will help to reset the lower back. That was a deep back bend you were just doing, which can cause a little bit of compression on your sacral area. And contracting strongly through the muscular structure of the abdominals, rounding through the upper back like cat, will help to reset that space. And lower the knees back down, untuck the toes, and then just start to make some natural movement that feels good. It might feel really nice to take some lateral movement, so looking over one shoulder and then the other. This will loosen up some space there in your rib cage. And then another very effective pose for releasing particularly the lower rib attachments is to think about the rib cage as being a barrel and just roll that around. So rolling the rib cage around in one direction a few times, very releasing. That feels really good. And then come to center, maybe pause for a breath. And then start to take that opposite, circling rib cage, rolling around. Back to center, and then bring your big toes together and take the knees wide, coming back for child's pose. Go slow. You want to make sure that your lower back feels really comfortable as the hips move back towards the heels. And then extend the arms out in front, softening forehead down to the ground. This will feel like really spacious for hips, inner thighs, lower back. The head is just surrendering down towards the ground. Take a few breaths, just feeling your way into particularly the lower back area. Make any adjustments that you need. And there's a small adjustment that you can do to get more release into the upper part of your spine. So if you lift your head just a little bit, and then really think about that melting heart, getting the chest back down onto the ground, then put your head back down on the floor. Feel that really full release between the shoulder blades and soften into this child's pose. You're really enjoying this symmetrical expression of your child's pose. Stay. If you feel like you need another twist, particularly there for that upper part of your spine, you can lift your head one more time. And then lift the left arm, thread the right arm underneath the left, bringing the right temple down towards the ground. So a child's pose variation of thread the needle. You're just softening in, settling in. Really surrendering, right shoulder, right side neck into the earth. Then wind back to center. Take a breath, center. And then if you're practicing thread the needle, opposite side, left arm scoops under right, left temple down towards the floor, softening and surrendering into full left side, shoulder, head, and neck. Okay, wound up, unwind back to center. Take a nice big inhale. Nice big exhale, sigh it out. And slowly start to walk back up. All right, so it is almost time. Well, it actually might be time for some of you to get into final relaxation. I am going to offer full hero's pose. It's going to be it's called saddle in yin. So it's going to be the yin variation. You got a lot of information in that opening pose where you only had one leg bent behind you. If that was already a max position for you, you're not going to be taking full hero's pose or saddle. You're going to be heading into Shavasana, and you get a bonus extra couple minutes in Shavasana. If you feel like you want to kind of go there and see, what kind of space you have in the quadricep area after all of that movement, I'm going to offer some recommendations for getting into that pose comfortably. So remember that there was the option for using a bolster or a cushion underneath the spine. That really does a very effective job of taking some of the intense pressure off of the quadriceps and the knees. Now in this variation in yin, you're going to have, just like we were doing in our child's pose, the big toes are going to be together and the knees are going to be wide towards the sides of the mat. You're going to slowly walk your hands back, and if you're using a cushion or a bolster, that should be sitting right at the tailbone, but you're not sitting on it. Put the weight into the hands, lift your hips up, and lengthen the tail. So you're kind of tucking here. And then you settle yourself back down, and you fully release and let go. Now you might get down there and be like, nope, that's not happening today. And if that's the case, you very slowly walk yourself back up. If you have settled into the position and it's intensive but you can breathe, and we're going to do a minute and a half hold here. So remember, you're either already in Shavasana creating your cozy little nest, or you're spending this next 90 seconds, it's only 90 seconds, to breathe into saddle pose. If you're in saddle, really try to surrender. It's very challenging to not want to grip and cling and hold on. Try to relax the spine into the floor or into the bolster. Try to soften those big muscles of the quadriceps. About 15 more seconds if you're still in the pose. If you've exited, that's fine. You're taking any final movements before you head into Shavasana. If you're still in the pose, 2 more deep breaths. Slowly, you can hold onto the edges of your mat or maybe press into the elbows and the palms and start to walk yourself back up. Once you're up, lift the hips and give that little tuck again, lengthening tail, and then releasing one foot so the hip can come to the ground. Release the other foot, and then just lean into the hands and sit. If you have a cushion at your tail, it feels nice because you can lean the lower back into that. And then you can just little rock, release. There's lots of vibration when you release from that pose. So if you want to really walk into that, just be still. All of that chi, that prana that was stuck in the tension is now vibrating. Really feel that. Take your time. If you took that time in saddle pose, you might need a few releasing movements before you head into your shavasana. So you might be on hands and knees circling the tail around in one direction and then the other, or any other movement that feels good. When you are ready, join your friends in final relaxation. Don't be in a rush, you have plenty of time. Find your releasing movements and then find your relaxation. Once you have your cozy little nest, let yourself be heavy into the support that you've created. If you find that something doesn't feel just right, like you need more support for your lower back, better to move, adjust, get an extra blanket or an extra cushion than to stay in what's supposed to be a deep relaxation and not feel perfectly comfortable. So anything that you need to do to adjust yourself, do that. And then get heavy and released. Yin yoga is like a wringing out of the body. It's very intensive. And so it is also a matching, as we said, there's no separation between body and mind. It's also a wringing out of the mind. So let yourself be wrung. Let yourself be squeezed out. And let yourself be heavy and released into the floor. Because of this thinking mind, this ego mind, we tend to hold on so tightly to our stories, to our, we call them samskaras in yoga. Those are all of the things that have happened to us, that have created these impressions, these grooves in the mind. We cling to these things as the truth of who we are. But it's not the truth. Those are simply things that have happened. It's not your true essence. So after this strong wringing out, see if you can let go of any of the clinging and just be a puddle into the floor. Completely released. What are you holding on to anyway? Just let it all go. Let yourself melt. Be free and rest. Slowly coming back to this melted body. And slowly coming back to this smooth breath that is already flowing through. A few moments to watch your breath lengthen and deepen. Noticing all of the new sensations in the body and the sensations of air on your skin and breath in the nostrils. All of these sensations are closer to the truth of who you are than often the thinking mind. Into this beautiful soup, take a nice deep breath. Exhale out with a sigh. And taking time for some small movements now. Get a little bit of life back in your body, toes and fingers, ankles and wrists. Beginning to stretch and wiggle and stretch the arms and the hands and the feet away from each other, getting nice and long. Good morning stretch. Check out some of that new space. And when you feel ready, bend at your knees and roll to a side. Take a few moments curled up on your side for transition. You can bring yourself up to a seated position using the strength of your arms. These last few moments together to sit in community, even at a distance, just being comforted, held in the arms of this community. I am so grateful for your arms that hold me each time we come together and practice. We'll take a deep breath in together. Exhale, sighing out. Breathing in. Sighing out. And inhaling to our own. Even from a distance, feeling that resonance of the other ohms that are radiating out there, and bringing hands together at heart center. Either resting one hand on the heart and the other hand on top of that hand, or bringing the palms together in Anjali Mudra. Feeling this resonance vibration from your heart reaching out to not just those in this class, in this community, but to the whole world. Gratitude for this practice that remembers that we have this resonance, this strong and open heart that can hold space for the whole of the world. Namaste.